Hey everybody, how you doing? Yeah, I'm gonna do this real quick. I'm gonna walk downstairs. Now, I am not a boxing historian. I was a history major for a couple of months during the 80s. I wound up as an economics major. I've read some history. I watched a lot of boxing. Before I got married, I had an intensive collection of Boxing Illustrated, Ring Magazine, all kinds of magazines, which my ex-wife, one of her friends says, he don't need all those boxing magazines. Why are you carrying them around? So I just threw them out. So that's another thing that could be worth thousands of dollars on eBay that I don't have anymore, but que sera, sera. So I read a lot of articles. So I'm going to give you my top 10, and I'm going to start at 10. Okay? And let's say these are fighters that I know about, fighters that I remember. And I'm going to give you my opinion of each. I hope there's some comments. If you don't like what I said, please make a comment. And we may make another one in a few months and see how it goes. If nothing happens, then I'm just going to leave it the way it is, okay? Because if you want to talk, ahead. Because I think position of where you couldn't say, I don't think this is a controversial issue of who this is. I think you can speak to this. Okay, number 10, Mike Tyson. Now, this is probably a very controversial pick, but when he was young, before he went awry, he was unbelievable, and he, like Muhammad Ali, had an incarceration when he was in his prime, and it affected him, and I don't think he was the same, and that affected him. So I don't remember I think he lost before that. I think he lost to Buster Douglas before that, so forth and so on. I don't know. But when it comes to just a 20-year-old fighter, he was the most impressive fighter ever. Period. So I'm putting him on there for that. Okay. Number 2. Carlos Monzon, who was a middleweight. I think that he murdered his girlfriend or something and jumped out of a window. He had a terrible life from after that. I don't know much about him personally, but he had 100 fights in the middleweight division during the 70s, and I think he won almost all of them. Very impressive, tall, angular fighter, good puncher. I would put him on there. Arguably, you could put Marvin Hagler there, but I'm going to put Carlos Monzon because it's my list. All right. Next, Larry Holmes. This is another one on my list. The reason I'm putting him on there is because I love the heavyweights, and I was sitting, and I had one other fighter that I'm going to get to in a minute that's obviously one of the greats of all time, and I had him on here, and I said, what other 70s and 80s heavyweight that I watched would I put on here? And I would say that's Larry Holmes. That's out of all the fighters of the 70s and 80s. Maybe George Foreman, but Foreman, I think his career was a little tainted with some things, and he could get on the list too, but I'm going with Larry Holmes. Even though I don't think that Holmes could handle Foreman, but I don't know. I don't know, because the way Ali whipped him, I don't know if Larry Holmes could do that. He might be able to do what Ali did. I don't know. Okay. So Larry Holmes, very impressive. He was like at 48-0. Very impressive. Very impressive. And he fought some very good fighters. Okay. Next would be Julio Cesar Chavez. I thought my list was a little Latin light, and there wouldn't be enough Latin fighters. He fought like 1,000 fights. He was fighting all the time. Had a great career. Great guy. He deserves to be on any list. That's why I put him on there. I don't remember a whole lot about him. The next one on here would be Henry Armstrong, who won 3 titles in 3 separate divisions. I never saw him fight. Don't know anything much about him, but I would have to put him on there. He was just somebody I remembered to the past that I would definitely say he was a great one. Okay. The next I'm very familiar with, Roberto Manos de Pedra Duran. Now, this is controversial. Ray Leonard made him quit. He's the most famous quitter in the history of boxing. He said, me no more box, because he was being embarrassed, and he quit. And to this day, he won't come to terms with what he did, from what I understand. But the guy fought until he was almost 50. He fought from 118 pounds up to 175. He was competitive in all that time, almost to the end. He never quit. He's cogent when he speaks. I don't think he got his brain damaged. He was unbelievable as an infighter. When he fought Mr. Leonard, he was 71-1. I think Wilfredo Benitez is the only fighter that had beat him when he was young. And when he fought Leonard, he was almost already 30, and he beat him. He beat him the first fight. Now, they could fight 9 more times, and maybe Mr. Leonard would beat him every time. I'm not saying that, but he beat him. He beat him. And Ray Leonard could be on this list. He's not on my list, and I'll let better now. And that's just how the list ended up. So Roberto Duran, he's strong, and he deserves to be there. The next would be Muhammad Ali. What can you say? I mean, the guy was affected history. He affected politics. Great fighter. He beat some great fighters. Some controversy in his career, so forth. He had a 3.5-year layoff and still won back his title. He revolutionized boxing. I don't even know if we'd have the WWE without him. I mean, he was the one who changed culture because he was so popular and he was such a heel, and he took after Gorgeous George, and he did that stuff, and he was the first guy to make a heel. He was just revolutionary. So I'm going to put him on there for that. Okay. Ray Robinson, Sugar Ray Robinson. What can you say? When he was coming up, he fought once a week, and they were fighting all the time. He fought Jake LaMotta like 5 times, and they were classics. They ended up making a movie about him. He beat everybody. He was fast as hell. Tremendous boxer, tremendous skills, tremendous. Number 1, Jack Johnson. Jack Johnson won the title from a guy I think was like 5'7". He might not even been that tall. And he fought everybody, and then he lost his title, I think, to somebody who was like 6'8", if I remember that right. I don't know if that's right. But he had sun in his eyes, and they would fight back when they would fight till somebody got knocked out. So he was just incredible. He didn't care what anybody thought. He dated white women right in front of people when they used to lynch people. They probably lynched people up into the early 70s, for all I know, but I don't really care what they did, okay? That's their squabble. That's not mine, all right? But the guy was legitimately a tremendous boxer, a tremendous puncher, great body, great punching power. They made, he inspired the Great White Hope movie. He was just incredible talent. List. I don't know if that's all inclusive or what goes on, but we got Jack Johnson, Ray Robinson, Muhammad Ali, Roberto Duran, Henry Armstrong, Julio Cesar Chavez, Larry Holmes, Carlos Monzon, Mike Tyson. That's my list. Out!